me that later. I can ask the
Okay.
the StreamYard people. So we're live right now. So
Nice.
give everybody a few minutes to get in here. Welcome to this Sunday's live podcast, everybody. I've got I'm really excited to have Joe Macaluso in the audience, not in the audience, in the hot seat today. Joe is somebody who I've been, we met at TICE 2019, right?
Yeah, 2019, early 2020, actually. Yeah, 2019 to 2020, just
Yeah,
before everything shut down.
yeah. We met in
Vegas.
person there, and I've been following your, Las Vegas. We went,
Yep.
you were at the Laticrete party, right?
Yes.
On the top of the world. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun. That was cool.
Good time.
But Joe, man, I'm pumped to have you here as a guest. I've been trying to catch up to you, catch up with you and record this. We did record something, I think that summer, but it wasn't on crypto. And ever since, really, shortly, last summer, really, I've noticed your interest and you're sharing your knowledge of cryptocurrencies and more, much more than that. But I've noticed how interested you are in financial investments, and I've been learning a lot from you just on this subject and the new data-driven economy, the tech world that we live in. So friends who are joining us, we encourage discussion. We encourage you to ask questions. Our goal with this podcast today is to have a group discussion on the basics of crypto, why it is important to understand, some tools you can utilize, some websites you can look at, some categories of cryptocurrency and opportunities that exist today and will come up maybe in the future if you're interested in this type of thing, to opportunities to earn interest on your crypto. You can even leverage against your cryptocurrency. So there's a lot to talk about, and we're eager to get started. Before we do, I just want to take a minute to thank the sponsors of Tile Money, the National Tile Contractors Association, Laticrete International, GoBoard, and HappyTileGuy.com are all sponsors of this show, this podcast. For those of you who are in the group or on YouTube, this is a podcast. It's a weekly podcast. You can subscribe inside your chosen platform. You can watch it on YouTube, and certainly you can continue the discussion inside the Facebook group. So if you're not subscribed to the podcast, you're missing out. It's designed to assist you grow strong businesses. And in this case, we're going to hopefully share some light on investing in cryptocurrencies. So our sponsors of the show are very aware of the need, and they desire to to assist you build sustainable businesses. They want to see you succeed, and they want to hear from you. They're anxious to hear from you, and they listen to the show to get to know contractors, because I interview all kinds of contractors from small one-man shows all the way up to larger contractors. So thank you again to the sponsors who are investing both in Tile Money, but in a larger way, they're investing in tile contractors' futures. So make sure to thank them and let them know you appreciate it. The NTCA, Laticrete, GoBoard, and HappyTileGuy.com. And I also want to give a huge shout out to my tile patrons. I have a Patreon page, and you are donating monthly, helping me to keep the lights on and encouraging me to continue to do this podcast as well as all things Tile Money. So if you're benefiting from it, I encourage you to become a patron. All right. Well, Joe, why don't you tell everybody about you? Not everybody might not know you. Give us a 30,000-foot overview, please, of who you are and your professional background, both in the tile
Sure.
world as well as finance.
Sure. Many knows me that know me within the industry. I'm a CTI 1298, NTCA Jersey ambassador, a remodeling contractor, or more primarily focused on tile installations, second generation. We primarily focus on high-end gauge porcelain panels. That's our primary goal. A little bit about my background. I come from a college education background. I have a degree in finance and management. I started out as in the corporate world. actually worked with my father in the tile business. That's how I learned to trade. But he always said, "Listen, I immigrated to this country with nothing, and but I want you to learn this trade. And it's a beautiful art, it's a beautiful trade, but I don't want you to do that. I want you to get a college degree." So I pursued that, worked for corporate America. Then financial crisis came in, and here we are. Was kind of like fell right into the construction industry. And the business just flourished. I used my college education and to expand the business, and the business has grown tremendously. In bad times and in good times, it's always about adapting to the market environment. And I've always had a knack for the financial markets. That's what I did. I'm actually a chartered market technician. It's a technical analysis. I know how to read charts, basically. I know how to read the fundamentals of things. I did that as a temp stint after I got laid off during the financial crisis. I was on a prop trading account, so where you're getting 10-to-1 on your money, leveraged, and that company was based out of Cayman Islands, and that went under. So you're kind of like stuck in between the financial markets and the Great Recession, they call it. So I kind of gave way because the markets, I work on market volatility. The more volatile the market, the more that you can make on the long side and short side. And now here we are. We're doing equities. There's tons of money flowing around, and now we're into cryptos. Cryptos have become much more visual and workable that you can actually understand it. So it's helping my family earn passive income, and it's the most important. It's security.
Yeah, you're right. That is one of the most important things independent contractors can be thinking about is their future security. How are you going to secure your retirement fund, basically, and your fund to keep living after, or in the slow times, what are you going to do with that tile money? I mean, money is good right now. I see a lot of tile contractors buying nice cars and boats, and that's fine and everything. But if we can set aside a chunk of your money for something like this, some sort of investment where it's going to actually, I mean, I love that word, that phrase, reoccurring, financing, passive income. That's what it was. And
make money while sleeping.
I love hearing that. I mean, if it's true, let's do it. It only makes sense, right? And so a guy like me, I love it because, here we are on a tile contractor podcast. Well, within the community, we have someone like yourself who not only is an expert tile contractor, runs a phenomenal business. I've watched you pivot in the last 2 years. I've watched you pivot a couple times and adjust and be able to do that what appeared to be seamlessly. I mean, you just pivoted and said, okay, if X is happening, I'm gonna do Y, and that's how your brain thinks. I appreciate that about you, and I observe that, and that's why you're here today, because guys like me, tile contractors who got into it young, or maybe because we fit the mold, so to speak, we think a certain way, and somebody like you who kind of, your father was able to educate you in the tile industry, but he also sent you to college, and then you were able to view the world a different way, especially specifically on this topic. So it's a great opportunity. I'm thankful for you taking the time. Let's get started with the basics. Somebody like me who, kind of knows I should be in crypto, but I don't know why. First of all, can you convince me why somebody should be aware of the space? Maybe give us a brief history, whatever it takes to convince me that I should be playing in this space.
You know what? With a finance degree and a management background, our professors have always educated us on invest in things that you can touch and feel, right? So I didn't adopt crypto from the beginning. I was very hesitant. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's fake, this and that. But here we are 13 years later, during the coronavirus, I dabbled with it, but I didn't think it was going to be, long lasting. Eventually the government was going to regulate it and whatnot. But 13 years later, as of last month, and it's still around. So during the coronavirus, the lockdown, I was like, you know what? It was at $3,500, $4,000, spending a lot of time on a computer because we couldn't go to work. Everything was on lockdown. A lot of our contracts canceled. So I had to adapt, research. We all had a lot of time in our hands, and down deep the rabbit hole did I go. We'll start off a little light. I don't want to go too deep, but
Sure.
It's quite impressive. It has grown significantly. There's actually use cases in crypto. It is the only market in the world that it's become accessible to anybody with a cell phone. So if you have a cell phone, you have the ability to invest with somebody who lives in New York City versus somebody who's living in the middle of Philippines or Indonesia. They still can access the same market 24/7. And what's great is that you can also send cryptocurrencies or monetary money seamlessly with low transaction fees. Aside from that, crypto is the first thing that comes to mind is Bitcoin. But crypto is a lot deeper than that. There's the DeFi market, which Ethereum falls under. Then there's the other chains or blockchains rather, like the Solana network. There's also meme coins that everybody knows, the Shiba, the Dogecoin. There's a ton of them. There's several categories. It's a use case that is beyond experimental. There's a use case that there's hundreds and billions of dollars that are invested into this. So the TVL, the terminology is commonly used, is total value locked in. And if you go to DeFiPulse.com, you'll see there's over $100 billion or $76 billion that are locked in. So, I mean, that's kind of earth-shattering. And we're at record all-time highs. Our investors are actually saving their money and investing into these protocols or projects and tokens for the future. It is being utilized, and it's just the beginning, in my opinion. I think this is the Web 3.0.
What? First of all, what was that website?
DeFi Pulse.
Okay, DeFi.
DeFi Pulse.com or .io. I have it all on my my browser, but there's a lot of them.
Okay, thank you. We'll put that in the show notes. And what was the Web 2.0, if you don't mind me asking?
Web 3. We're in the process of Web 3.0. So
which one was 2?
Sure. 2 is social media.
Okay.
So this platform, YouTube, Facebook, that is considered Web 2.0.
Sure.
And then Web 1.0 is obviously the .com. Mm-hmm. So the .com was experienced in the late 90s, where we had that .com bubble. My opinion, I think this is where we're going. We're just seeing euphoria, and it is only in the world. It's only adopted 4.5% or 3.9% of the total population. So you're talking about almost 400 penetration in the market. And Bitcoin itself, I think, holds a value of like $1.2 trillion. And each project has a designation. So, for example, Bitcoin is a proof of work. So each token has a utility case. Okay, so Bitcoin's a proof of work. Basically, you have miners. There's over 36 or 42 digits that makes a blockchain, and that blockchain has to be verified by the miners, and that's their sole job. But it consumes a lot of energy, right? So that's why you're talking about, a lot of these miners are moving out of China, moving out of Iran because they're consuming too much electricity, et cetera, et cetera. So they're now trying to use more sustainable products, sustainable energy, in order to produce this proof of work transactional to go. In the current system, it's utilizing the SWIFT. So the SWIFT system, basically you're writing a check, you have your account number, you send money through MoneyGram or through a check, or you get wired, and it takes 24, 48 hours. You have to spend $50. to do an international wire. And there's a lot of middleman, which we don't understand. So the Business International Settlements, that is the organization that runs the settlement process. And that's a standard payment process. So there's a governing body, world governing body that provides this. It's very antiquated. And blockchain provides that opportunity to do it seamlessly and with a fraction of the cost. In its current environment, it's not there. Hopefully, with the new rollout, where they call it Taproot and Lightning through Bitcoin, it should make those costs come down significantly.
Okay. Thank you for taking the time to give us the history of cryptocurrency. And, you know, obviously we've just scratched the surface, right? I mean,
Correct. Yeah.
But I think you've convinced me, at least, and you know, and hopefully the audience, and feel free to ask questions, audience. There's a bunch of you watching live, of the authenticity of it all, and the fact that, you know, this isn't going away, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that, yeah. And I think that's where I wanted to start, was this isn't going away. It's, even if you don't invest in it, I think it's, you know, and what I've kind of been doing, because I'm not invested in anything right now, but I've been educating myself and, you know, to the point where I realize now, I'm like, oh crap, I got it. You know, I'm ready.
You got to play catch up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to play catch up.
There's some catching up to do for sure. But the first step is just getting ready. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We have a quick question. Do you recommend any podcasts or YouTube channels for crypto?
Yeah, there's tons of them. Unfortunately, there's a lot of them that has redundant information, but more for the educational process. I'll share it at a later time.
Sure.
There's a whole list, and we'll go through them. There's tons. I mean, it'll explain every single project. There's a lot of intelligent people from the developer side that explains the process. What is Bitcoin? What is Ethereum? What is Litecoin? Those are the top three, in accordance to the world government bodies. And you start from there. And the other thing you can also do is read the white paper. So Bitcoin has the white paper. So the infamous Satoshi, the individual who created, he wrote the white paper 13 years ago, and that's still readily available. It's short, 15 pages at most. And it explains what their objective is, what their ambitions are. You know, that's what I highly recommend. Always understand, immerse yourself in the project to get a better understanding, and then see if you can utilize that. And you can utilize it. You can buy it on PayPal. You can use your WooCommerce, or you can use your Venmo. You can transfer a lot of those funds. But there's a much bigger use cases. There's the technology side of it that's very valuable.
And I apologize, I misread that question. They asked, "Do you have a crypto podcast? Where can people find you educating in this space?"
Yeah, you know what? The one thing is, and people are always asking me, because they see the value that I'm sharing on the back channels and whatnot. Unfortunately, I do not. A lot of people are trying to motivate me just to do a 5-minute podcast. It's just, I don't have a lot of time in my hands between operating a business, which is my bread and butter, being a father and a husband, and then allocating all that extra research and just, setting it up. I don't, but I will. A lot of people have convinced me and motivated me to commit a little bit. So as soon as I have one up and running, I will share it to you guys.
Well, let me know if I can help you in any way in that regard. If you have questions or whatever, or need some inspiration or tools to use. I did want to mention, so what we'll do is you've mentioned that you're going to provide us with some links to tools.
Correct.
I'm going to put those in the show notes, but I'll put the bulk of them, or all of them, I should say, in my weekly email newsletter, as well as I'll turn it into a blog post on tilemoney.com. So for those of you subscribed to the newsletter, I think I'm going to dedicate this Thursday's newsletter to this podcast, because I think there'll be a lot to include in there for value for you. for you all, Tile Money friends. So I think we've convinced ourselves, that we do need to get started. So what's the simplest way to get started in the space?
Sure. The simplest way is to, or onboard, is to open up an exchange account like the Coinbase or the Kraken. I recommend staying within our territory or within the U.S. markets, because it looks like there's a lot of regulation that are going after the Chinese-based and more loosely regulated exchanges. So we have a prime example that they're going after Binance. Actually, all world governing bodies are going after Binance. So they are number one. They are the market leader by a large margin. Approximately almost 50% over Coinbase. Coinbase is number two. Unfortunately, in this space, and I have to warn everybody, it is not regulated, number one, and two, your money is not protected like a regular savings account. So it's not FDIC insured. So be cognizant of that. Save your seed phrases when you create your wallet and you open up account, and please set the utmost security 2FA on all your access to your websites and your portals. So not through a text message, through a Google Authenticator, because people are hacking into accounts. I had a lot of friends that lost a tremendous amount of money through these exchanges. So exchanges, Coinbase, Kraken, those are the two in the US. There's also Gemini, which is great. There's also BlockFi. BlockFi is a little bit limited. Another company is FTX, Tom Xylophone. As you know, they've sponsored a lot of football players and athletes and stadiums and whatnot. But they're based in Cayman Islands. He's the youngest billionaire as of late. Sam something, I forget his last name. But that's also another great program that has or exchange that has a lot of access to certain coins that you cannot get on Kraken or Coinbase. That's the simplest way. Then you want to go a little bit deeper. Once you feel a little bit more savvy, and you even can get it on SoFi. If you're not comfortable with those programs, you could go on SoFi. You can go on Robinhood. Those are fintech companies. They're great. Unfortunately, anything associated with fintech companies, you don't have great customer service. So there's pros and cons to everything, right? And then once you get down a little deeper, and mind you, when you're in an exchange, you do not, it's like holding your money in the bank. You don't own that physical coin. So they're essentially borrowing it and you're holding it in their wallet. Okay. So if anything, if the exchanges go down or they get hacked, like Robinhood did as a couple of weeks ago, you're at risk. And within this environment, there is no protection yet. I'm hoping there should be some sort of regulation and there should be some kind of insurance. You can hire a third-party insurance company to protect your assets if you have something pretty significant. The other route is once you've accumulated a certain amount of wealth or a position in a crypto asset, get a cold wallet. Okay, that's considered a hot wallet or an exchange. You can get a cold wallet, and the two that I recommend is Ledger, Ledger. They're based out of France. Please do not buy it on Amazon. It may sound like a good deal or anything like that. The problem is they're adding a lot of code behind it. You don't know if they're adding those codes, and they can actually steal. Once you connect to the internet, they can steal your assets. So order it directly from the Ledger website. The Nano works phenomenal. It's great. It doesn't get connected to the internet. You put it in your safe, you put in your seed phrase, opens it up, and you can do whatever you want to do. You're essentially your own vault. That's considered your vault. Just make sure it's charged and you have your seed phrase. And then the other one, finally, is also considered a cold wallet, like the Metamask. The Metamask can hold multiple chains and currencies. That's a company that is run by Consensus. They are a major player or second or third major player within the blockchain environment, behind Ethereum and IBM, by the way. We'll get into that. So Consensus runs MetaMask, and MetaMask is a web browser or a mobile app wallet, and that's considered a hot wallet. Okay. It also has its risk. You have a seed phrase that you have to remember, store it, save it, and if you change your phone, you can lose access to your funds. So that's also another negative downside to this industry, unfortunately. So you have to be on top of all these security codes and stuff. But mind you, that's what blockchain is here. Ethereum is developing technology. Hopefully, once all these real use cases really come to fruition, only your mobile phone will be identity, KYC. So you're going to have like facial recognition and all that stuff, and that will access to everything across all platforms, from your Gmail to your license to your SoundCloud. I mean, everything. It's going to be an ETH address. That's from what I'm hearing through market analyst, industry leaders that are stating that. So the technology is there. It's just being when it's going to be rolled out. So those are the three easiest ways.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'll put those links in the show notes as well and on the blog post. We've got a question here from Coventry Tiling. What are your thoughts on decentralized domains from unstoppable domains? I bought my name for future payments. Thank you.
Excellent. It's great. So everybody that has a wallet, and I'm assuming that you're very familiar with for wallets, and you have this wallet that has a long address. I don't know where my right hand is. I'll try to fit it. Okay, so you have a long address like that big, right? There's no way you can remember it. It's not like Venmo. I'll just scan my QR code and you send the funds. So what the ETH allows, that address, and if you had a ETH domain prior to October 31st, you got airdropped some Ethereum. So congratulations, you were an early adopter, and you got free money. So that's a great thing. So those domains are great, unstoppable domains. I don't personally use unstoppable domains. I've used the ENS domain, which is under the Ethereum. And there's also a token for that as well. I think it's currently like $60 or something like that. But it's good. I think from what I read, that ENS website is the link that's going to provide access and like a security key per se. So only you have that designation to access any of your websites, anything that's keyword activated or password activated. That's where some sort of a link is going to be created. So that's an early adoption. So it's still yet to be seen. We'll see. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, look forward. I'll keep tuning in to see.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. We talked about, I think we covered a lot of the tools. Did we miss any tools, as long as we're still on the tools that people should be aware of?
Yeah, there's so many tools.
There's too many to list, huh?
Yeah, so I'll just start mentioning websites. Websites are great. In the NFT market, it's not something in my forte, but the technology is phenomenal. So you can use Crypto Slam to actually analyze the fundamentals of certain projects. So Crypto Slam, SLAM.io. So you can see which project is trending or developed, which NFT has the most money generation in that 7-day period. So you can actually put numbers behind those certain projects. So for example, Board Yacht Club, Apes, or something. Actually, Axie Infinity has been on top. So that's a play to earn token for gaming on one of the blockchains. I forget the name of it, but that's always on the top of the list. And then number 2 is the Board Yacht Ape Clubs that you've probably seen the news on that. Somebody's buying them like 5 million Jimmy Fallon just bought one. I think he spent like 10 million on one or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like crazy amount of money. Is it a bubble? Yes and no. There's a lot of stupid projects out there like frogs. You know, if you're in the NFT space, you'll understand. But it's got to have a utility. And once you understand the utility, you read the white paper, then you can take the the opportunity. Unfortunately, I probably spent stupid amount of gas. There's GWAY and gas whenever you buy NFTs. Probably spent a stupid amount of gas fees to buy X amount of NFTs, and I unfortunately haven't been lucky to sell one for millions. Unfortunately, not. So Crypto Slam is one. CoinMarketCap.com is another one. CoinGecko is also a great one. If you're into the fundamentals and you want to understand, now this is a golden nugget. Messari.io. You can actually see how many tokens are locked up. Who are the investors? Like Coinbase, they invested a tremendous amount of funds into certain projects so they can actually implement it in their ecosystem and then roll it out. So it's Messari, Messari.io. Phenomenal website. It's a little bit more advanced.
Thank you.
CoinMarketCap and all those websites, you'll see there's actually 46, actually DAppRadar.com. So DAPP, that's also a great one. Lunar Radar is also, if you're into the poo coin or the shitcoin arena, they call it. Those are like the penny tokens that have multiple zeros in front of it, like Doge used to have, and Shiba. These websites, you can actually put a figurative value behind in these certain projects. You can understand it. Don't just buy because you saw it on TikTok or you saw it on Instagram, and oh, maybe I should invest in that. Understand it first. Be a Warren Buffett. Do the snowball effect, Understand the project, immerse yourself into it, and then you can feel comfortable actually holding that asset for a longer period of time. That's what creates wealth, holding it a certain amount of time, and then you feel comfortable making that investment rather than making 200. I do recommend, investing $5, $10, whatever you're capable of doing. Sacrifice coffee. I mean, look at Dogecoin, for example. If you invested $5 a day, back in the initial phases, you could have been a millionaire if you followed that stuff. Yeah. So those are great websites. Those are great websites to utilize that information to understand it, and become a better investor, and comfortable investor, knowing what you're going into.
Yeah. How much time would you say you spend, especially in the early days, per day looking at these websites?
Every day. A lot of time. I spend a lot of time. Hours. Yeah, I'm on Clubhouse as well.
Clubhouse.
I belong into a lot of communities within the crypto space. We have all the same, and then Twitter as well. So we all share the same common belief. It's very hard for one person to know it all. It's evolving every day, and there's always something new, that we're learning. So we always bounce ideas off of each other. So consuming that data is on a daily basis. And it's the same thing with the equity markets. So I try to balance my time between the business side of things and, real life, family, and as well as reading some of this extra information between the equity markets and as well as crypto market. Try to stay balanced in that environment.
You mentioned that when we were talking about, you mentioned NFTs briefly, but you said they need to have a utility. So is that what I think? I mean, you're saying they need to have a purpose, right?
The more of a purpose, everybody can write up a roadmap, right? It's really easy. And some of it, I'm going to give you a prime example. There's some projects that claim to be of utility sense. One personally that I experienced that I got rugged, and rugged is a terminology mean basically they took the money out of the the program and the NFT, and poof, the money disappeared. And he's probably going to get indicted, probably, hopefully. So the one project is called, I hate to say it, but it's Rich Kids. So they promise this, he's a hip hop artist too. So, and hold on one second. I got my little one coming in.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time.
Yeah. Hey, you want to sit down? Okay. I'm on a call. Oh, nice. Okay. So the Rich Kids was one project that was dropped, and it was about six weeks ago. He promised that he was going to do this, he's going to do that. He gave the roadmap, but you know, sometimes when you have this, sometimes the utility is not there to really break it down yet. So Board Yacht A Club is one of them that has utility, and you have an access. Playboy is another one. Believe it or not, the infamous Playboy that went bankrupt, you know, Hugh Hefner. They have an NFT, they have a roadmap, but they don't believe in roadmaps. You know, it's about investing in the community, you know. And then you have those are utility aspects of it. You know, that's where the masses is. That's where it's generated over $50 billion worth of sales in NFT. But then you have the other spectrum of it, which I'm not privy to it, but they look like, you know, beautiful art. And that's the side that nobody's talking about, you know, like the Beeples. Beeple is one, he's an infant, he's generated over $100 million worth of sales. Sotheby's is one of the art collectors that have dove straight into the NFT space. So they are claiming the high-end artists, the more exclusive artistry. That's something that I'm not privy to, but they're valued a lot more. You know, that's where they start at, like 2 ETHs or 3.5 ETHs, you know, and ETHs are basically translated to $4,000 an ETH. That's where you get your real money, but you got to invest into it. You know, I like to hold my tokens. I don't like to buy art, but we'll see.
Okay.
The other use cases in NFTs, and what a lot of people can understand, is trading cards. So the three companies is Panini, and they're certified under to invest to make in NBA cards, NFL cards, anything in the sport arena. They've taken everything. Topps used to be the leader. They've also entered the NFT space. So we'll see how that goes. And then there's also a third one that I'm not aware of.
Okay, fair enough. We got a few comments I want to address here. Level Up says Tile Ape NFTs would be amazing.
Hey, if you're savvy, absolutely. You know what it is? It's a sense of community. So if we get everybody within the tile industry to buy an NFT, we create a use case. You know, you got to code it. You have to put it on the blockchain. It's not only a JPEG. You know, there's a blockchain. That's why there's value behind it. You can't, and NFT stands for non-fungible token, so you can't recreate it without that blockchain attached to it. And every time it gets sold, the creator gets a fee for it. The music industry is inevitably going to enter this space as well, in my opinion.
I would think it'd be well, they need something, right? The music industry actually needs.
It's in the works. It's in the works. So you're going to watch the market leader. The market leader is Spotify at the moment. Spotify bought a blockchain company, I forget the name of it, about 3 years ago, and we'll see what they do. There's a few other projects they're going to do. So, you know, you're going to see a lot of these. The record labels are in the middle. They're the middleman. They're collecting a lot of funds and fees and stuff like that. You know, and quite honestly, the artists are peed off because, you know, they're not making enough money for all their creation as being a creator. So we're in that space of the creator world. That's why you're seeing this exuberance for these JPEGs and whatnot. So it's going to be beneficial. I hope somebody can do that. If you're into coding and we can make it happen, I know a couple of individuals who can do that, and we can post it on OpenSea and just keep it within our open community.
Well, let's do it, community. We got Giuseppe, and we need a coder, and I'll be the promoter. And let's see here. We got a few more. We got a couple people talking about XRP. They're wanting to know if you invest in XRP.
Yeah, so XRP is one of those hard fork. Yes. All right. First off, we got to understand, why is the SEC suing XRP? You got to understand that the biggest holder is that one individual, okay, the founder and the co-founder. If he were to sell all his tokens and the price goes up, then he's essentially the richest man in the world. Okay, more so than combined between Elon and Bezos. All right, so there's a hierarchy issue. That's number one. Number two, the technology is phenomenal. It's hard to argue. All right, the government probably wants it, the U.S. government, but there's a story behind it. CBDCs, central bank and digital coins, currencies. Okay, so there's another terminology you're going to hear between Web 3.0, the fourth industrial revolution, the digitization economy. You're going to see this a lot. But the next word that hasn't been utilized as much is called tokenization. Okay, so the tokenization economy is basically every real world asset is going to be tokenized with a blockchain tied behind it. So instead of running on fictitious numbers, everything's going to be collateralized with a figure behind it. So you are that individual that owns that deed, that card, that asset, that autograph, that art, et cetera, et cetera. So XRP has that technology to create that seamless transaction at low cost fees. Okay, and they are working with governments, world governing bodies all around the world to focus on those central bank and digital currencies. Bitcoin is not going to be the currency of the world. It's not. Ethereum is not going to be the currency of the world. And I'm talking from realistic, okay, not from a maxi standpoint, from realism. If you read the World Economic Forum and all this stuff, they're and the BIS, they're directing governments to focus on CBDCs. There is a CBDC, it's called a website tracker. It's called Atlantic Council something. You can see what all the world governing bodies are utilizing. And the first one that was actually launched was the Bohemian Sand Dollar. So Bahamas was the first country in the world to create and roll out their CBDC. And then there's five other Caribbean nations that already have rolled out their CBDCs, and Nigeria is the first African nation to also roll out their CBDCs. So there's a total of 7. The U.S., Japan are behind. China is already halfway through, and Europe has already advanced the creation of it. So we're going to eventually be the last one. So our XRP, in my opinion, I think it's going to be that element that the U.S. government needs to connect to the CBDC. So I don't know if they're ever going to bring it back public. It's just, you can't invest in it. So you got to have to contact your relatives across the seas, or you didn't hear from me, through a VPN. So if you know that terminology, you understand.
And you just answered this question, right?
Yes, you cannot buy it in the U.S. unless you go through a VPN.
So that was my wife's question is, if Bitcoin and all these other coins are not going to be the coin of the future, or the official, dollar, or the official fiat currency. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Why invest in it now?
It's the technology.
You're investing in the technology. So you're learning about it, or does it, is it strictly for the speculation that you're going to?
No. Okay. So at the moment, Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. All right. And this is something that pounded with everybody's head to raise their prices within the Tile Money community, and as well as other, communities. Guys, what we're going to experience, all right, some of us, unfortunately, I'm not old enough that I lived through the 1970s, but part of my thesis is about inflation, okay? My finance degree. That was my thesis. So talk to your relatives, talk to your family, talk to your grandparents if they're, God willing, they're still around. Ask them, what was your experience of the 1970s? They're going to say, oh, we just lived a normal life, of course, but things went up, okay? Interest rates, housing, I mean, everything. Housing grew over year, 10%. People are saying, housing is going to crash again like to 2008. I'm sorry, that's different. This time is different. That was exuberance. That was excess liquidity, no regulation. This is a whole different ballgame. Try to get a mortgage now these days. So Bitcoin is, as you can see, all the whales, the big money guys, MicroStrategy, Elon Musk, with Tesla, they are the top two holders. And you got Square, which is under Twitter, and what's his name over there at Twitter? They are holding that. Yeah, Jack. They are holding that Bitcoin as a protection.
Okay.
Now, people are saying, all right, why not invest in commodities? Yeah, absolutely. Commodities have gone through the roof. Coffee is at a 7-year high or 10-year high. Oil's at, a 10-year high and whatnot. But gold has been the worst asset. Gold and silver has been the worst asset in the last 10 years, and Bitcoin has been appreciating tremendously. Okay, so it's considered almost, I'm assuming, and a lot of analysts and the big money guys are saying that this is a protection of your wealth, and so far it has been true. Mm-hmm. See your savings account. See how much you're earning there.
Yeah,
it's dead money.
Sure,
it's dead money. I'm not saying don't hold any cash. Cash is king at the moment. But it's also not yielding anything. And fortunately, you can invest in equities, which are appreciating due to inflation, and as well as crypto. And you can earn passive income in crypto. It's such a deep rabbit hole. It's great. It's great.
Nice. Well, this has been great. Thank you for coming on here. We've got a few more minutes. I don't want to take up your whole afternoon here on a Sunday. So if anybody has any last minute questions, now would be a great time. I'm just going to go through my questions, make sure we got them all. And Giuseppe, did we miss anything you want to hit on?
Yeah, we could touch base upon, which projects. We talked about, actually we should talk about the ecosystem, understand the ecosystem, how it really works, the hierarchy.
Okay.
You got Bitcoin, which is the father of, crypto. Okay. Then you have, which is a proof of work. So the miners create these tokens. There's a limitation how much they can create. So there's scarcity. Okay. Then you have proof of stake. So proof of stake is what Ethereum is. They're in the process, or they're converting it to proof of stake. They're a proof of work with Ethereum. So there's infinite amount. So they are considered blockchains. So you have Bitcoin as one significant major blockchain. Then you have one that forked from Bitcoin, which is Litecoin. And then you have several of these projects that forked from Ethereum. Ethereum is within that DeFi environment. So DeFi is another word for a decentralized finance. Okay. So you'll hear that terminology, decentralized versus centralized. Decentralized is considered better, but is it better, in certain use cases? No. Okay, it's not the answer to everything. Sometimes it's ideal to centralize it in certain blocks. Then you have within the mining community as nodes. These nodes are the ones that verify certain blockchains to send these your NFT to you. So they have to write the code, put it in the blockchain, and then drop it into your wallet. So you can't make a non-fungible token per se. So there's all that proof of work, proof of stake, and then you have proof of location. So you can also be a miner if you wanted to be. You could be an Ethereum miner. You can be a Bitcoin miner. But now this stage in the game, it's too late. It becomes too expensive. unless you have millions of dollars to really play catch up. Helium has been a great thing. That's a proof of location. So Dish Networks, as you may know, is a satellite provider. They've entered that token called Helium, and they want to be the proof of location. So it's kind of pretty interesting how that rolls out. So once you understand that, there's play to earn in the gaming space. So Solana is considered a blockchain that forked from Ethereum, and they created their own blockchain. And you'll see XRP is also a different one, and then Polkadot is considered layer 2. Then you have your metaverses. Your metaverses also fall into that category of second world, like the Matrix kind of thing. And then the play to earn as well. You have your Binance is also another chain that's more dominant in the Asian countries. Ethereum is more dominant on the West Coast as well as in Europe. But everything's connected, so it's open 24/7. The community, the crypto environment. And then you'll hear these meme coins. So those are considered poo coins, and you'll see all these little tokens that have like 4 or 5 zeros in front of it, and they go up 1,000%, 500%. Some are good, some have utility, some don't. I still don't know what Dogecoin or Shiba is gonna be in that environment. Safe Moon is also another one that falls into that category. But there's so many more projects. Go on coinmarketcap.com. You'll see a slew of them. Understand it, and then click on CoinGecko and click on categories, and you'll see there's an NFT one. There's a wallet. There's a DEX. There's a metaverse. There's a game. There's music. There's insurance, there's finance, DeFi. Wow. The space is like the second layer to our real economy. So it goes a lot deeper. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to really discuss on every single thing. That's when we go really down.
What you've done is given us a taste. And if anybody wants to hear Joe go further or deeper, we kind of had to go wide today and scratch the surface. But if you want Joe to go deeper on a subject, let him know you appreciated it, or contact myself, Luke. Let me know, and I'll put you on a list, because the next time we do this, we'll schedule it out a little further and get a room. And perhaps what we'll do is get a roundtable as well, with something Joe and I have talked about, because there are several of you I know who are, equally
just as savvy,
savvy and playing in it. Yeah. I like Joe's attitude here about, we can't all know it all, so let's all just share what we do know and keep, thinking about more about the community's interest. Now, real quick, before we hang up here, we had talked about, and I know, again, just scratch the surface for us, kind of give us a teaser on opportunities to earn interest, and then other opportunities to actually leverage against your coin, because some people might not know they exist. So I just want to bring light to it.
Sure. So leveraging, if you're not a savvy investor or don't have a large position in Bitcoin, then you really can't. So Coinbase allows you to leverage up to $100,000 in collateral, but you have to use Bitcoin as collateral, or an NFT, or certain aspect of it. So that's for more of the advanced aspect. It's not like they're giving free money. The other one, what was the other one? Oh, APY, right? Mm-hmm. All right. So you can, within Kraken or certain platforms, you can stake. Stake is basically giving your money, put it within that blockchain, and earn APY. Okay. So, for example, Kraken, between Polkadot and Solana, certain projects, the higher APY, be careful. It's risky. So try to stay within a reasonable APY. Some of them are giving nice hefty ones, but that's in the farming. We're not going to get into farming, but farming, you can earn 80 to 100% APY on a daily basis. And in compounding. So compounding, the rule of compounding is tremendous. It's powerful. And that's how you can earn additional tokens into the certain projects you're really interested into. Staking, you can do that. It's very easy. You don't have to be a savvy investor. You don't even have to know about crypto. You can go under BlockFi. It's a New Jersey-based company, or Celsius. It's a website-based company, centralized as well, or decentralized. BlockFi is centralized, and they have an outreach with Goldman Sachs. You don't have to know anything. You can invest $100 a month, $50 a month, and earn an APY. So, for example, USDC, it's a tokenized digital dollar. That's what you need in order to transfer between the ecosystem amongst different blockchains in order to purchase that. You can earn 9% or 8.5% APY on your money, compounded. So it's a tremendous, you're not going to earn anything in your savings account. Again, the only downside is it's not FDIC insured. So be cognizant of it, spread your money around, and make your money earn for you. Passive income is a must.
Nice. Thank you for that briefing. And I think what we'll do, I mean, correct me if it makes sense, if it doesn't make sense, but I think it makes sense for this topic to go deep for 30 minutes or 60 minutes on one subject, almost like a class for one particular subject in the future. Seems like.
So you can create a DAO, okay? It's a governance token, okay, within the tile community. And you could do this too. You create your own community, a DAO, and let the community decide the majority vote per se, okay? So let the DAO community or the tile money community decide as a majority vote which we should focus on. Should we focus on the poo coins, the meme coins, or certain blockchains?
I love it.
Let the community decide. We can go. There's so much information out there. Some people within our community are much more savvier than me, but I've kind of got like the whole spectrum because I'm immersed in a lot of these projects, especially in the metaverses as well.
And I'll just let people know who are on Facebook. There is a group for tile guys on Facebook in investing. I think it's called
Tile Stocks or
Tile Stocks.
Yeah, it's something I forget the name of it.
Oh, Stocks for Tile Pros. Is that it?
Yes, Stocks for Tile Pros.
Right,
yes,
Stocks for
I'm
Tile
in that community
Pros
as well.
And then one quick question here, and then I'm going to let you go. We're coming up on an hour. Where does Tether fall?
It's going to be heavily regulated. All right. Here's the problem. Stay away from it. Stay within USDC. USDC, you can buy it in real world market, and not only in a crypto. They are in a equity. It's called Circle. Circle is the one that owns USDC, and they're currently going out public through a SPAC. And I believe that's CMP. I forget the ticker, but yes, they are going public. Stay away from Tether. I think once the SEC starts rolling out their regulations, the world is going to probably hammer on Tether because it is a risk because they're holding treasuries, money markets. It could collapse the market. So it's inevitable. So stay away from it.
All right. You heard it here first. All right, Joe. Well, again, really appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday with your beautiful
Thanks for having
family.
me.
And yeah, absolutely. And you're welcome anytime. And we will put this together again. We want to share our insights and get the community talking about this because we want to see everybody succeed and set themselves up for the future.
Absolutely. That's what we're all here for as a family and as a community. And thank you. It was an honor.
Yeah. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. You're welcome anytime. Tile friends, if you want to stay in touch with all things Tile Money, you can check us out on tilemoney.com. Sign up for our newsletter. I'll be putting a lot of the links to this show notes and kind of turning this week's newsletter into everything we discussed so that you can find the websites and all the links. So Tile friends, please stay positive out there, guys. And above all else, please stay profitable, Tile friends. Talk to you next week.
Thank you.